Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Okay, in this video, we are talking about the chapter 3, the faith. Okay, सॉरी थोड़ा आज लेट में थोड़ा मैं वीडियो बना रहा हूँ क्योंकि थोड़ा मेरा काम था तो मैं कुछ गया था एंड आते स्टेशन ट्रेन से आते टाइम में उसमें ही मैं उस चैप्टर को मैं पढ़ लिया था, रीड किया था एंड उसमें से मुझे कुछ चार चार पेजेस छूट गए थे। उस चार पेजेस को भी मैं कंप्लीट करूँगा। उसके बाद जो भी मैं इस चैप्टर से मैं रीड किया उसको मैं आज एक की पॉइंट्स मैंने आपको आपको मैं समझाऊंगा। ओके, पहले चलते हैं। दिस इज द चैप्टर 3। ओके, याद करना, फेथ, the magic of the scuba personality, had been thrown on full force, but what was more important and lasting was the full fledged, clear cut program he laid down for the aggrandizement of steel. Many other men had tried to interest. Uh, had tried to interest Morgan in sleeping together a steel trust after the pattern of the biscuit, where hope, sugar, rubber, whiskey, oil, and chewing gum combination. John W. Gates, the gambler, had urged it, but Morgan distrusted him. The more boys, Bill and Jim, Chicago stock jobbers who had glued together a mess toast and a corporation had urged in and failed. Elwood H. Gray, okay, Elwood H. Gray, the Sanchi, a Monio's country lawyer, wanted to foster it, but he wasn't big enough to be impressive. Until Schwab's eloquence took J.P. Morgan to the heights from which he could visualize the solid results of the most daring financial undertaking ever conceived. The project was regarded as a delirious dream of hegemonic crackpots. The financial magnetism that began a generation ago to attract thousands of small and sometimes inefficiently managed companies into large competition crossing combination had become operative in the steel world through the devices of that jovial business pirate John W. Gates already had formed the American Steel and Wire Company out of a chain of small concerns, and together with Morgan had created the Federal Steel Company. The National Tube and American Bridge Companies were two more Morgan concerns. The Moore brothers had forsaken the maize and cookie business to form the American Group, Tin Plate, Steel Hoop, Sheet Steel, and National Steel Company. But by the side of Andrew Carnegie's gigantic vertical trust, a trust owned and operated by 53 partners, those other combinations were peculiar. They might combine to their heart's content, but the whole, a lot of them could not make a dent in the Carnegie organization, and Morgan knew it. The eccentric old Scott knew it too. From the magnificent heights of Skibo Castle, he had viewed first with amusement and then with resentment the attempts of Morgan's smaller companies to cut into his business. When the attempts become too bold, Carnegie's temper was translated into anger and retaliation. He decided to duplicate every mill owned by his rivals. Uh, Hitto, Hitherto, he hadn't been interested in a wire, pipe, hoops, or seat. Instead, He was content to sell such companies the raw steel and let them work it into whatever shape they wanted. Now with Squabab as its chief and able lieutenant, he planned to drive his enemies to the wall. So it was that in the speech of Charles M. Squire Morgan saw the answer to his problem of combination. A trust without Carnegie, a giant of them all, would be not trust all a from fording, as one writer said, without the plums. Squab's speech on the night of December 12, 900 undoubtedly carried the inference through not the pledge that the vast Carnegie enterprise could be brought under the Morgan tent. He talked the world future for steel and recognition, reorganization for efficiency and specialization of the scrapping of unsuccessful mills and concentration of effort on the flourishing properties of economic in the ore traffic of economic in overhead and administrative departments of capturing foreign markets. More than that, he told the Bokansers, canneries, among them wherein lay the errors of their customary privacy, their purposes. In he inferred, okay, he inferred had been to create monopolies, rise price and play themselves a fat dividend out of privilege. Scoba condemned the system in his hardest manner. The short sightedness of such a policy, he told his hearers, lay in the fact that it restricted the market in an era when everything cried for expansion by cheapening the cost of steel, he argued, and if ever expanding market would be created, more uses for steel would be devised, and a goodly portion of the world trade could be captured. Actually, though he did not know it, Squabab was an apostle of modern mass production. So the dinner at the university club came into came to an end, and Morgan went home to think about Squab's rosy predictions. Squabs went back to Pittsburgh to run the steel business for we Andra Carnegie. Will Gray and the rest went back to their stock tickets to fiddle around in anticipation of the next move. It was not long coming. It took Morgan about 1 week to digest the feast of regions Kebab had placed before him. When he had assured himself that no financial indigestion was to result, he sent for Skobab and found that young man rather quiet. Mr. Carnegie, Skobab indicated, might not like it if he found his trusted company president had been flirting with the emperor of Wall Street, the street upon which Carnegie was resolved never to trade. Then it was suggested by John W. Gates, the go-between, that if Skovap happened to be in the Bellevue Hotel in Philadelphia, J.P. Morgan might also happen to be there when Skobab arrived. However, Morgan was conveniently ill at his New York home, and however, Morgan was and so on the elder man's pressing invitation, Skobab went to New York and presented himself at the door of the financial library. Now, certain economic historians have professed the belief that from the beginning to the end of the drama, the stage was set by Andrew Carnegie, that the dinner to Squab, the famous speech, the Sunday night conference between Squab and the Monkey King, were events arranged by the Kennys Court. The truth is exactly the opposite. When Squab was called in to consummate the deal, he did not even know whether the title was. The as Andrew was called, would so much as listen to an officer to sell, particularly to a group of men whom Andrew regarded as being endowed with something less than holiness. But Skobab did not did take into the conference with him his own handwriting 6 sheets of copper flat figures representing to his mind the physical earth and the potential earning capacity of every steel company he regarded as an essential star in the new mental कहाँ में था fire moment four men pondered over these figures all night. The chief, of course, was Morgan, steadfast in his belief in the divine right of money. With him was his aristocratic partner, Robert Bacon, a scholar and a gentleman. The third was John Jobruckers, whom Morgan scorned as a gambler and used as a tool. The fourth was Kwaba, who knew more about the processes of making and selling steel than any whole group of men then living. Throughout that conference, the Pittsburgher figures were never questioned. If he said a company was worth so much, then it was worth that much and no more. He was insistent too often including in the combination only those concerns he nominated. He had conceived a corporation in which there would be no duplication, not even to satisfy the a greed of friends who wanted to unload their companies upon the broad Morgan's shoulders. Thus, he left out by design a number of the larger concerns upon which the Roses and carpenters of Wall Street had cast hungry eyes. When down come, Morgan rose and straightened his back. Only one question remained. Do you think you can persuade Carnegie to sell? He asked. I can try, said Scobab. If you can get him to sell, I will undertake the matter, said Morgan. So far, so good. But would Carnegie sell? How much would he demand? Scobab thought about uh, 320 lakh. What would he take payment in? Common or preferred stocks, bonds, cash? Nobody could raise a third of $1 billion in cash. There was a golf game in January on the frost cracking heat of the St. Andrews Slings in Westchester with Andrew bundled of in sweaters against the cold and Charlie talking volubly as usual to keep his spirits up, but no word of business was mentioned until the pair sat down in the cozy warmth of the Carnegie cottage hard by. Then, with the same persuasiveness that had hypnotized 80 millionaires at the University Club, Scoba poured out the glittering promises of retirement in comfort of untold millions of satisfy the old man's social caprices. Carnigo capitulated, wrote a figure on a slip of paper, handed it to Skobab, and said, "All right, that's what we will sell for." The figure was approximately 400 million and was reached by taking the 320 million mentioned by Skobab as a basic figure, adding to it 80 uh, lakh to represent the increased capital value over the previous 2 years. Later on the deck of Trans-Atlantic Linear, the Scotsman said ruefully to Morgan, "I wish I had asked you for 100 million more. If you had asked for it, you had have gotten it." Morgan told him cheerfully. Okay, there was an uproar. Of course, a British correspondent cavilled that the foreign steel world was appalled by the gigantic combination. President Adley of PLA declared that unless trusts were regulated, the country might expect an emperor in Washington within the next 25 years, but that able stock manipulator Keane went at his work of sobbing the new stock at the public so vigorously that all the excess water, estimated by some at nearly 600 million, was absorbed in the twinkling. So Carnico had his millions, and the Morgan Syndicate had 22 million for all its trouble, and all the boys from Gates to Gray had their millions. Okay, 30 years old, Skobov had his reward. He was made president of new corporation and remained in control until 1930. The dramatic story of being a businessman, which you have just finished, was included in this book because it is a perfect illustration of the method by which desire can be transmuted into its physical equivalent. I imagine some readers will question the statement that the mere intangible desire can be converted into its physical equivalent. Doubtless, some will say you cannot convert nothing into something. The answer is in the story of United States Steel. The giant organization was created in the mind of one man. The plan by which the organization was provided with the steel mills that gave its financial stability was created in the mind of the same man. His faith, his desire, and his imagination, his persistence were the real ingredients that went into United States Steel. The steel mills and the mechanical equipments acquired by the corporation after it had been brought into legal existence were incidental, but careful analysis will disclose the fact that the appraised value of the properties acquired by the corporation increased in value by an estimated $600 million by the mere transaction which consolidated them under one management. In other words, Charles M. Schwab's idea flows the faith with which he conveyed it to the minds of J.P. Morgan and the others, was marketed for a profit approximately $600 million, not an insignificant sum for a single idea. What happened to some of the men who took their share of the millions of dollars for profit made by this transaction? Is a matter with which we are not now concerned. The important feature of the outstanding achievement is that it serves as unquestionable evidence of soundness of philosophy described in this book because this philosophy was the rough and the roof of entire transaction. Moreover, the practicability of the philosophy has been established by the fact that the United States Steel Corporation prospered and became one of the richest and most powerful corporations in America, employing thousands of people, developing new uses for steel, and opening new markets, thus proving the 600 millions in profit which the Scovab idea produced was earned. Riches began in the form of thought. The amount is limited only by the person in whose mind the thought is put into motion. Faith removes limitations. Remember this when you are ready to bargain with life for whatever it is that you ask as your price for having passed this way. Remember also that the man who created the United States Steel Corporation was practically unknown at the time. He was merely Andrew Carnegie's main Friday until he gave birth to his famous idea. After that, he quickly rose to a position of power, fame, and riches. There are no limitations to the mind except those who acknowledge both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. Okay, this is all about in chapter number 3, faith. ओके ये लास्ट चार पेजेस, तीन चार पेजेस है एंड फास्ट जो पेजेस है उसको उनको मैं बताऊंगा। अभी तो मैंने आपको लास्ट चार और तीन चार जो पेजेस छूट गए थे मेरे जो ट्रेन में आते टाइम जो मैं रीड करके आया था। एंड पहले क्या है मुझे मैं आपको समझाऊंगा अभी। अब पहला है फेथ। ओके, पास्ट स्टेप क्या होता है? फर्स्ट स्टेप होता है सक्सेस की। अब किसी भी चीज़ को सक्सेस पाने के लिए फर्स्ट स्टेप होती है डिजायर। आपके थॉट, आपके माइंड में एक तो डिजायर आता है अब वो सक्सेस पाने की, वो होता है फर्स्ट स्टेप। द सेकंड स्टेप होता है वो होता है विजुअलाइजेशन एंड बिलीव्स इन अटेनमेंट ऑफ डिजायर। डिजायर के जो अटेनमेंट करने की उसे विजुअलाइज करना और उसे बिलीव करना। एंड द फेथ, उसे हम कहते हैं फेथ। ओके, faith is the head chemist of mind. Okay, the emotions of faith, love, and sex are the most powerful of all major positive emotions. Okay, and love and faith are the psychic, related to the spiritual side of the a man, and sex is purely of biological and related only to the physical. Okay, ये था पहला। एंड सेकंड है हाउ टू डेवलप फेथ। अब फेथ को कैसे आप डेवलप करें? ओके, फेथ इज अ स्टेट ऑफ mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated कुछ repeated instruction to the subconscious mind। आपके कुछ repeated action करके आपको subconscious mind को उसे instruct करना to the principles of auto suggestion। okay, and the repetition of affirmation of orders of to your subconscious mind is the only known method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith। okay, आप रिपीटेशन अफर्मेशन कर सकते हो कुछ करने की। अब बिलीव अपनी सबकॉन्शियस माइंड को जो ऑटो सजेशन में देना। ओके, उससे ही वो फेथ डेवलप होता है, अपनी सबकॉन्शियस इंस्ट्रक्शन देना। उसके बाद एंड एक चीज, एक लाइन सेंटेंस में एक बोलना चाहूँगा, दैट इज परफेक्शन विल कम थ्रू प्रैक्टिस। ओके, प्रैक्टिस बहुत ज़रूरी होता है। ओके, वो कैसे फिजिकली हो या मेंटली कुछ पाने की, जो सबकॉन्शियस माइंड को आपको इंस्ट्रक्शन देना है। ओके, एंड थर्ड इज फेथ इज अ स्टेट ऑफ माइंड। ओके, फेथ एक स्टेट ऑफ माइंड होता है जो कि मैंने बोला था, एंड बी इंड्यूस्ड बाय ऑटो सजेशन। जो कि भाई ऑटो सजेशन होते हैं। ऑटो सजेशन क्या होता है कि भाई आप बिना कुछ करे अपने को कहे बगैर वो ऑटोमेटिकली काम करते हो, जैसे कि सुबह उठ जाना, डेली ब्रश करना। ओके, ये faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. For going sentence is reading a second time and a third and fourth. It was worth reading aloud. Okay, faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Okay, faith, a starting point of accumulation of riches. Faith is the basis of all miracles and mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. Faith is only non antidote for failure. Faith is the element, the chemical which, when mixed with prayer, gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence. Faith is the element which transforms the ordinary vibration of thought created by the infinite mind of man into the spirit of equivalent. And faith is the only agency through which the cosmic force infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by men. Okay, and ये सब था। एंड और एक था कि सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस फॉर्मूला। पहला था कि आपको क्या अचीव करना है, डेफिनेट पर्पस इन लाइफ। I demand of myself persistence and continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. ये था पहला। एंड दूसरा, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind. Okay, जो थॉट्स आपको डोमिनेट करता है उसको समझना है। एंड reproduce themselves in outward and concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily। अपने थॉट्स के ऊपर डेली 30 मिनट्स ऑब्जर्व करना है। ओके, एंड थर्ड होता है द प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ ऑटो सजेशन। एनी डिजायर I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek express through some practical means of attaining object, and will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. And fourth, कुछ रिटन करना है पेपर में, कुछ लिखते हैं ना वो ज़्यादा याद रहता है। सो रिटन डाउन ए डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ डेफिनेट चीफ एम इन लाइफ। कुछ जो पर्पस आपका मेन सक्सेस क्या है, मेन पर्पस क्या है और मेन एम क्या है, उसको एक पेपर में पूरा लिख देना है। एंड आई विल नेवर स्टॉप ट्राइंग until I shall have developed sufficient self confidence for its attainment। एंड कभी स्टॉप नहीं करना जब तक उसमें से कुछ आपको सेल्फ अटेनमेंट, सेल्फ सेल्फ डेवलप, सेल्फ डेफिनाइट चिप आई मीन एंड नेवर ट्राइंग, जब तक वो सक्सेस ना मिल जाते और जब तक वो सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस अटेनमेंट ना मिले। ओके, एंड फिफ्थ होता है fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure। Okay, and I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. So focus on you, and uh, so you want to be grow and you want to be go success. But if you not focus on others, and negative attitudes toward others can never bring me success. Okay, cannot be never. Okay, I will cause others believe in me because I will believe in them, in myself. Okay, this is all about in the first some pages of this chapter, and the small statements, the true statements that two and two are for। okay, like if you think you are beaten, जैसे आप सोचते हो ना ऐसा ही होता है। जैसा कि इफ यू थिंक आर बिटन यू आर, इफ यू थिंक यू डेयर नॉट यू डोंट, if you like to win but you think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. Okay, if you think you will lose you are lost. Okay, for out for the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. Okay, if you think you are outclassed you are, you have got to think high to rise. You have got to sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man wins is the man who thinks he can. Okay, this is all about the chapter faith, the chapter number 3. Okay, 30 बोल रहा था, 3 सॉरी. एंड मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. नेक्स्ट चैप्टर है चैप्टर नंबर 4, दैट इज क्या है, ऑटो सजेशंस. ओके, पहला था डिजायर, फर्स्ट स्टेप टुवर्ड्स रीच. एंड दूसरा है दूसरा स्टेप होता है फेथ, फेथ. एंड तीसरा स्टेप है ऑटो सजेशन. ओके, तीसरा जो ऑटो सजेशन है वो नेक्स्ट में हम कल करेंगे. ओके, मिलते हैं. थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग विथ मी एंड फॉर लिसन विथ मी.